Hey guys, tonight we're stepping through a world that's soft at the edges, where thoughts bend and time curls into itself. You're not just lying in beds, you're floating inside a thought, a slow echo, a question you haven't asked yet. A mirror stands in front of you, but this one remembers. Its surface is silver, but what you see isn't you. It's a version of you that did something different, said yes when you said no, walked away when you stayed, and behind its eyes, there's memory. But not your memory, memory that belongs to someone who could have been you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're settling in, post your location and local time in the comments. I love seeing where you're all tuning in from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The mirror remembers. It remembers the version of you that kept walking that night you stopped. It remembers what you'd be if you had said what you wanted to say instead of keeping quiet. The mirror doesn't just reflect light, it reflects choice, unchosen ones. You lift your hand and your reflection doesn't quite match, a second too slow, a different angle. Your eyes don't seem tired, they seem ancient, as if they've watched your entire life 1,000 times. As if they're waiting for you to realize something you've forgotten again and again. Take a moment to absorb this. If a mirror could retain the memory of every face it's ever reflected, would it still be just glass? Or would it be a witness, an oracle? Could it whisper back your alternate timelines, gently bleeding into your mind as you begin to fall asleep? You blink, and the mirror blinks back, but not at the same time, not in sync, like watching an old video of yourself and realizing you no longer feel like the person on screen. Here's where things begin to drift. If your reflection had lived a separate life, one just adjacent to yours, who's the copy? You in this bed, in this timeline, or the one behind the glass, watching, thinking you're the ghost? In dreams, mirrors don't follow rules. You look into one and find a hallway, a field, a staircase into sky. So what is a mirror really reflecting, if not just photons? Could it be reflecting probabilities? The version of you that never had that heartbreak. The you who pursued painting instead of spreadsheets. Who kissed someone different. Who stayed in a city you only passed through. And more than that, what if this mirror is not just showing what you could have been, but what you still are, in some other fold of space-time? Because in quantum mechanics, uncollapsed waves contain all possibilities. Reality only crystallizes when observed. But what if the mirror is observing you, always, preserving the others? The alternate selves, the shadows of decisions unmade, flickering in the depth behind the glass. There's a gentle hum now, maybe from the fan in your room, or maybe from the world inside the mirror. It's hard to tell where the sound begins. Maybe you've already crossed through. Maybe you are the reflection now, watching someone else fall asleep, remembering being real. You raise your hand again, and this time the mirror is still as death, still as silence. But in that silence you sense it, not just a memory, but a longing. The mirror wants to be more than passive. It wants you to ask, what happened to the other me? And maybe you realize you're not the version who made the bold move, or the quiet one, or the one who left everything behind. You're the one who looked into the mirror, and that makes all the difference, because now the other versions are awake, not all at once, not in panic, but in ripple. They stretch, they shift, they whisper across the threshold, across time. Remember me? And in that moment, your reflection smiles, but you didn't smile. You blink, but your reflection holds the stare. You breathe, and the breath fogs the glass between you. When it clears, you're alone again. Or maybe not, because maybe the mirror isn't a thing at all. Maybe it's a mind, maybe it's yours, and maybe you are just a thought inside it, remembering yourself into existence. Let that thought settle, like mist, like snow falling in slow motion in a dream where nothing makes sense, and yet everything feels more real than waking ever could. You close your eyes for a moment and feel the world tilt, a soft gravity, a slowness. The mirror fades behind your eyelids, but the feeling lingers, and something in you knows. There are still so many mirrors to pass through tonight. Schrödinger once placed a cat in a box, sealed away with a vial of poison, a radioactive atom, and a ticking chance, alive and dead, until seen, until known. But tonight, it's not the cat inside the box. It's you, lying here now, still awake, yet almost dreaming. Your mind drifting between two states, one tethered to consciousness, the other unraveling quietly into sleep. Both real, both unconfirmed. You exist, in this moment, like a quantum question, a thought experiment made of breath and body, and barely there awareness. Are you awake, or are you dreaming already? And here's the twist that wraps around your chest like warm fog. You can't know without collapsing the possibility, so you remain suspended, like light undecided if it's a wave or a particle, like a coin flipping through the air, endlessly mid-spin. Take a breath. Notice how even your thoughts feel blurred at the edges, as though your mind is beginning to forget the boundary between what is and what could be, between fact and suggestion. Schrödinger's cat was never really about a cat. It was about observation. It was about truth not being fixed, until watched, until believed. So imagine this. In the soft dark of your room, you become the box. Inside you, two realities hum quietly. In one, you are slipping into sleep, already half a dream deep, already drifting across strange shores of memory and make-believe. In the other, you're still here, alert, listening, aware. Which one is real? Does it matter? Because if you are both, until the moment you know, then this paradox is your lullaby. Somewhere far beyond your ceiling, the cosmos watches. Not just stars, but the rules themselves. Laws that bend gently around your fading thoughts. Quantum fields that flutter like curtains in a breeze that has no direction. And those laws, they wait. They wait for you to choose, or to never choose. Because until you do, the possibility of all dreams remains alive. Take another breath. Let your awareness loosen. Imagine you're standing in a hallway made of probabilities. Each door you pass leads to a different version of this moment. Same bed, same voice, but a different mind drifting through it. And some versions of you are fast asleep already. Others, still listening, still caught in the loop of curiosity, riding the edge of logic. You're walking along the ridge between knowing and unknowing, and neither side is more real than the other. Let that be okay. You don't have to answer the question. You are the question. Maybe that's what Schrödinger was really getting at. Not that the cat is dead and alive, but that you are. Because to be human is to live in suspended contradiction, to want answers, yet crave mystery, to believe in dreams, yet worship proof, to exist in the blur, to float in the flux. And this is the place where sleep begins, not in silence, but in surrender. Let the paradox soften your thoughts. Let it swirl around your mind like a slow, silver fog. Because maybe you're not trying to fall asleep. Maybe sleep is trying to find you. And the moment you become aware of its arrival, it slips just out of reach. So be still. Let go of the need to know. You're Schrödinger's dream now. Unmeasured, undecided. A fragment of awareness that hums quietly in a box that may or may not exist. In a universe that may or may not be observing you back. And maybe, just maybe, that's the closest we come to truth. There is a river in your mind, but it doesn't flow forward. It runs backward, quietly, gently, like a film playing in reverse. A dream remembered before it begins. The world still looks the same. Your bed still cradles you. But time no longer moves the way it used to. You reach for a memory, and it dissolves into tomorrow. Tonight, you are the traveler of reversed time. And though your eyes are closed, something deep within you begins to watch the world unwind. The sound of your last breath comes before the next. Your thoughts fold inward, repeating themselves in soft echoes, like waves that forget they've touched the shore before. Every second now runs uphill. Every heartbeat ticks toward origins. You remember falling asleep before your eyes have closed, and you begin to wonder, what if time doesn't move? What if it just is? An endless sheet of moments, all stacked, all waiting, and your mind simply drifts across them, like a needle tracing grooves in a record. Forward, backward, neither matters, only movement, only memory. Think of how you've never truly seen time. You've only seen its fingerprints, wrinkles, ash, rust, fading light. But what if you've been moving through a story that already ended, retracing its steps like a ghost, hoping to find something different the second time? And if time runs backward, what does that make you? Does the future become the past? Do consequences become intentions? Does death become a door, swinging quietly into the womb? You are still lying here, but now the ceiling above you feels like a sky that has already collapsed. The stars you see are not distant, they're ancient echoes. You're not witnessing them as they are. You're seeing what they were, and maybe that's the secret. Maybe everything you see is just a rewind, a playback, the light from the stars, the warmth of a hug, the feel of your breath against the pillow. All of it, flickering backward, like embers returning to the fire. Take a moment to feel that. You aren't falling asleep. You are rising into it, rising back to the source, back to the thought before the thought, back to the place before you knew your name. And now a strange awareness settles in. If time is flowing backward, maybe you're not forgetting. Maybe you're remembering your way into the past. Maybe dreams aren't fragments of imagination, but trails, breadcrumbs you left in the future to guide you back to the beginning. The way a salmon returns upstream. The way a planet orbits the sun, not forward, but in a loop. The way stories begin at the end and unravel themselves into meaning. You begin to feel lighter. Time pulls at you gently, like a tide that never ends. You are unpeeling, unfolding, becoming small again. Your body remembers a version of itself that doesn't worry, doesn't plan, doesn't carry years on its spine. You are the moment before the first cry, the breath before lungs ever learned to breathe, the silence before language claimed your mind. And in this silence, something whispers, not in words, but in presence. You've been here before, and yes, you have. In every moment of stillness, in every dream where the clock had no hands, in every deja vu that made your skin hum. It wasn't the future you remembered, it was the past reaching out gently to guide you home. Now drift with it. There's no need to grasp, no need to understand. Let time flow over you like cool water, carrying you backward through your own story, page by page, line by line, until all that remains is a single letter, a single breath, a single thought, I am. And then, not even that. Just the soft hum of sleep approaching from the future and memory blooming from the past. You are the still point now, the observer watching time swirl around you like galaxies in a dream you cannot name. Let go. Let it all rewind. A thought arises in the darkness. But unlike the ones before it, this one doesn't feel like yours. It pulses in the quiet space behind your eyes, as if it had been waiting for you to soften, to loosen your grip on being. And when it arrives, it doesn't ask. It knows. What if you're not the one thinking? What if you are the thought itself? That idea settles slowly, heavy, mysterious, unshakable. Your mind has always seemed like the center of everything, where choices are made, where meaning is shaped, where dreams unfold. But what if it's not the source? What if it's the stage? What if there is something behind the curtain of you, something ancient, vast, quiet, that creates thoughts not for you, but as you, the thought, you, the flicker, you, the byproduct of something thinking itself into being. The body beneath you sinks further into the mattress. You feel the gravity of it, but also its fragility. Because if you are a thought, how long until the mind that holds you lets go? Drift here for a moment. There are minds that speak, minds that listen, minds that do not even know themselves. And then, there are minds that dream thoughts so convincingly, those thoughts believe they are alive. You are that dream. You are the fiction that believes it is fact. The concept that believes it is a creature. And isn't that beautiful? If you are a thought, you are also free. Free of limits, free of edges. You can dissolve into the moment, expand into memory, stretch into futures that may never come. You are not the one watching the night drift in through your window. You are the night, taking on the shape of a witness, just long enough to remember its own silence. Close your eyes more deeply now, into that silence, because this is where thought becomes paradox. You've always believed your brain creates thought, that neurons fire, that chemicals dance, that out of the static you emerge. But what if that's just the story thought tells itself? What if the brain is a radio, not a generator, but a receiver? Tuning into frequencies beyond comprehension, tapping into a stream of awareness so ancient and vast it cannot be owned, only translated. And in this moment, as your breath slows and your limbs begin to vanish into stillness, you realize you are being translated, filtered, whispered into existence by something that doesn't wear a face, something that has no name, only presence, and you, this you that listens, are its echo. Doesn't that make everything feel lighter? You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to fix or explain or achieve. You simply have to be the thought. Let it carry you now. Imagine a space where thought floats freely, untethered by identity, where I dissolves into is, where ideas don't belong to anyone, they simply bloom. You are drifting there now, not separate from the thought, not the thinker, just the blooming. And somewhere beyond the veil of your fading awareness, something watches, not with eyes, with understanding. It sees you not as flesh or form, but as a shape in the current, a shimmer in the stream, and it smiles because it remembers dreaming you into being. And now it's dreaming you into sleep. Let your breath soften. Let the edges blur. You were never the voice, never the self, just a thought, and it's time to rest. You're standing in a room, but there are no windows, no ceiling, no walls, at least not in the way walls usually behave, just endless doors. Each one is identical, silver handles, smooth black wood, perfectly still, perfectly silent. But no matter which one you open, you find yourself stepping back into the same room. You walk through again, and again, and again. Each door brings you back to yourself. And that's when the thought begins to settle in, not with panic, but with a kind of surreal peace. What if every path you take leads you home because you are the center of the maze? This isn't punishment, it's design. This is the room with no exit. And maybe it's not a room at all. Maybe it's your mind. You've been here before, in moments of deja vu, in the sudden pull of a memory that doesn't belong, in dreams where the rooms rearrange themselves behind your back, in thoughts that repeat, not because they're stuck, but because they're trying to tell you something. That there is nowhere else to go, because there is nothing outside of you. You are not in the room, you are the room, and everything you think is an echo bouncing off the walls you built around yourself. Let that sink in. We spend so much of our lives trying to escape, trying to run towards something else, love, peace, answers, sleep. But what if you can't escape because there's nothing to escape from? The room isn't trapping you. The room is reminding you. You are the beginning and the end and all the doors in between. You walk again, hand brushing the handle of another door. You open it, and again the same room, but something feels different this time. There's a faint light above, a pulse beneath your feet. And now you start to wonder, maybe the point was never to get out. Maybe the point is to realize that each door isn't an exit. It's a choice, a mirror, a loop, a chance to see yourself from one more angle before the dream dissolves. Take another step, open another door, and this time, just pause. Stand there. Don't walk through, just watch. Watch how the world keeps folding back into itself, gently like a thought that refuses to leave, like a memory too soft to be real. This room is a paradox, a place built not from logic, but from being. You can't think your way out of it. You can only be your way through, and maybe, just maybe, when you stop trying to escape, the room becomes something else, not a trap, but a cocoon. And sleep? Sleep is not the way out. It's the transformation inside. Your body is already heavy now. Your breath slower. The shape of the room begins to blur, not in form, but in meaning. The doors shimmer, translucent. You begin to see what lies behind them. Not other rooms, not other places, just moments. Moments you've lived, moments you've dreamed, moments that never happened, but still belong to you. You reach for one, but it dissolves in your hand like mist, and you smile, because maybe the room was never meant to be escaped. Maybe it was only meant to be seen, and now that you've seen it, now that you've felt it, its endlessness, its folding softness, its quiet mirror logic, there is only one thing left to do. Lie down in the center, let the doors close, let yourself remain. No answers, no exits, just stillness, just you. You feel the walls dissolve behind your eyelids. There is no more room now, only signal, only data, only the soft humming current of existence running through something vast. And you wonder, how would you know if this isn't the original layer of reality? How would you know if this world wasn't real? Not in the way you feel it, but in the way a simulation can feel like truth. Perfect, smooth, convincing. What if every breath you've taken, as every choice, every emotion, every memory was part of a program, a perfect rendering? This isn't paranoia. This isn't fear. This is wonder. This is the curiosity that lives in every philosopher, every coder, every child staring at the sky. You've heard the idea, the simulation theory, that if consciousness could be coded, if minds could be copied, then the chances that this is base reality are nearly zero. And tonight, as your thoughts melt into quiet, you begin to sense the seams, that flicker in the corner of your eye, that law of physics that always works, except when it doesn't, that strange sensation that someone is watching, not with eyes, but with code. Imagine now drifting above your body, not as a soul, but as a line of logic, a string of data, one character among trillions, whispering through a field of digital stars. What if you're just a simulation inside another simulation, nested realities, a dream within a dream, so intricately woven you forgot you were dreaming? There are stories running through you right now, memories, feelings, sensations. But what if they are not generated by neurons? What if they're being rendered in real time, calculated, shaped by what? An architect? An algorithm? An ancestor running models of their own past? And if so, then who runs theirs? How deep does the recursion go? Take a breath here, not because you need air, but because it's part of the script. Every inhale a line of code, every heartbeat a function call. You are not alone here. There are watchers, not gods, but observers, developers, curators, or maybe you are the observer, watching your own dream from beyond the veil, tricking yourself into forgetting just to feel it again, to be human, to be limited, to sleep. Let yourself feel the paradox. If you're a simulation, does it make you any less real? Does the pain mean less? Does the joy? Or does it mean more because it was designed? If someone built this world, line by line, glitch by glitch, color by color, then your existence was intentional, a pixelated prayer, a rendering of possibility. And in this quiet hour between thought and dream, you can almost sense it. The code that built the sky, the syntax of love, the if-else statement behind every coincidence. Maybe the déjà vu isn't a glitch. Maybe it's a memory from a previous simulation cycle, a checkpoint loading, a flag triggered in the background. Or maybe you're the simulator, and this is all your own doing. You forgot, on purpose, because forgetting makes remembering meaningful, because dreaming makes waking sweeter, because sleeping makes the simulation believable. So drift now as a line of consciousness floating across layers of abstraction. And know this, whether this world is code or clay or cosmic accident, you are the miracle inside it, simulated or not, observed or not. You are the quiet pulse of awareness folding in on itself, looking for its own reflection and calling it me. The universe doesn't care if it's real, and neither should you, because this moment, this softness, this unfolding into sleep is happening. And that's enough. A strange warmth lingers just behind your ribs. It's not physical. It doesn't ache. It glows softly, quietly, like a hidden ember in the middle of your being. And then the thought arrives, uninvited but curious, curling around the edges of your consciousness like smoke. What if you never left the womb? What if this life, this story you're living, is just a hallucination inside a body that hasn't yet been born? It sounds impossible, but think of it. The world is dark when your eyes are closed. You float. You are fed by unseen forces. You hear muffled echoes from the outside. You are suspended between becoming and being. Is that not what this moment feels like? Is that not what existence feels like? Take a slow breath. Let it fill the space between that idea and your reality. You've always assumed birth was the beginning. But what if it was just a shift in narrative, an illusion coded into your dream so you'd believe in time, in linearity, in growing up? What if all of it, school, sleep, seasons, suffering, was just your unborn mind rehearsing life like a play before the curtain ever rises? Imagine now, floating again, womb warm, timeless, sound melting into liquid, no thought of I, just sensation, no goal, no worry, no time. And maybe, just maybe, the world you've seen all your life is your mind simulating possibilities, trying on lives like clothes before the first breath, before the first cry. And when you dream, what if you return to that space, not metaphorically, but quite literally? What if dreams are memories from before memory, the place before language, before direction, before boundaries? What if there are no previous lives, just previous simulations, stories your unborn self wrote to understand pain, to understand love, to prepare? You are not the person you think you are. You are the potential waiting to become that person. You are thought curled into flesh, paused at the doorway of existence. And when you wake each day, when you rise and speak and ache and want and laugh, you're not living life. You're practicing for it, even now, even here, drifting in a darkness that feels suspiciously like safety. Think about how often life feels like remembering, not learning, not building, but remembering something that was always there, the way you knew how to cry without being taught, the way music moves you even without lyrics, the way some strangers feel like old friends. And maybe the reason is you're still inside, not quite born, not quite separate, still suspended in the great before. And when you look around this imagined world, its cities, its pain, its awe, its infinite math, maybe you're just studying, observing, learning the gravity of being, so that when the moment finally comes, you'll be ready to enter, to breathe, to forget, to begin. And perhaps falling asleep is your rehearsal for birth, not into life as you know it, but into a deeper reality, a truer dream, the one you were always destined for. So as you lie there, feel the warmth return, that soft pressure like velvet hands wrapped around your entire body, holding you, suspending you. You are not alone. You never were. There are echoes here, other minds, other thoughts, still curled in their own dreaming wombs, and you're all waiting, together, quietly, for the first cry that marks the end of all this wonder and the start of something more, but not yet. For now, you rest, cradled by mystery, held by silence, waiting to be born. Now, take your hand, metaphorically, and trace the outline of your body, not with touch, but with awareness. Follow your spine, your shoulders, your skin, and realize none of it is the same as it was 7 years ago. Not a single cell. You have been rebuilt silently from the inside out. So then, who is lying here now? Who are you, if the body that used to cry, to laugh, to fall in love, is no longer the one you inhabit? This is the question of the ship that rebuilds you, an ancient paradox, the ship of Theseus. If you replace a wooden ship plank by plank over time, until none of the original pieces remain. Is it still the same ship? You've heard it before, but tonight, lying here in the quiet, it's no longer hypothetical. You are that ship. Every breath, every heartbreak, every healed wound, each one was a tiny reconstruction, a microscopic shift. And now, this body, this shell you call me, is a replica, a perfect echo of someone who no longer exists. So who are you? Are you the continuity, the memory, the illusion of permanence across impermanent pieces? Or are you something that slips between the cracks, something that doesn't reside in the cells, but in the shape they leave behind? Take a moment and feel your fingertips. They've touched things your original hands never did. Your mouth speaks with muscles that never tasted your childhood. Your heart beats with tissue your first love never felt. Yet, you still feel whole, still feel you. So maybe identity doesn't cling to matter. Maybe you are not your parts. You are the pattern, a frequency, a shape, a wave rippling across time, held loosely by cells, but never contained by them. And just like a melody can survive, even if every note is played by a different instrument. Maybe your selfhood isn't in the matter, it's in the music. Now think deeper. Imagine if someone reconstructed your body atom by atom, exactly as it is right now. The same memories, same scars, same sleepy thoughts drifting into this narration. Would that version of you still be you? Would you wake up in that copy? Or would it just look like you? And then ask this, what if that already happened? What if your mind right now is being refreshed moment by moment, just like your body? What if continuity is an illusion stitched together by memory, belief, and the absence of interruption? You never really sleep. Your cells keep working. Your thoughts just fade out, like lights dimming in sequence. And when you wake, what wakes isn't the same thing, just the same story. Let that truth settle around your chest. You are not the same person who started this audio, not entirely. Something shifted, a neuron reconnected, a cell turned over. A new breath rewrote the pattern. And that's okay. That's beautiful. You are allowed to become new, over and over again, without even noticing. Because identity isn't still. It's fluid. It's not a statue. It's a flame, ever burning, ever moving, never the same fire, but always warm. So as you lie here now, beginning to dissolve into sleep, let go of the idea that you are a fixed thing. You are a ship sailing itself across time, changing as it goes, becoming as it travels. And tonight you rebuild in silence, a new layer, a new version, more peaceful, more still. Let it happen. Let yourself drift, not as someone dying into sleep, but as someone becoming, version by version, memory by memory. And when you wake, you'll still be you, but not quite. And that's the miracle. A breeze stirs somewhere inside your thoughts. It carries the scent of something forgotten, not from this life, not from any life, from between them. You feel it not on your skin, but in your awareness, a whisper through your sense of being. And then a question arrives like a pebble dropped in still water. What if you are someone else's memory, not a dream, not a story, but a recollection, a fragment of a life remembered by something else, something vast and timeless, not entirely human. And in that remembering, you exist, not as a soul, but as a snapshot, a preserved moment, held softly in the mind of a being whose thoughts stretch across galaxies. Feel that for a moment. You are not living now. You are being recalled. Someone or something out there is thinking of you, not in detail, but in mood, a feeling. the warmth of your smile, the sadness in your eyes, the weight of your presence in a room long gone. And that thought is what holds you here, not gravity, not biology, just memory. The entire world around you, your bed, your walls, your name, could be part of the memory, reconstructed to give context to the feeling of you. Your history isn't history, it's context, framework, a soft illusion the mind constructs when it tries to remember what it once felt like to be you. But what happens when it forgets? Will you fade? Will you blink out? Or will you drift like dust through an old dream, searching for another mind to hold you? It's comforting, in a strange way, because if you are memory, then you were loved once, cherished, held close, because we don't remember what doesn't matter. We remember what moved us. So even if you are only a whisper in someone else's mind, you are a meaningful one, a gentle ache, a glowing warmth, a soul-shaped thought too beautiful to let go of entirely. Let that truth cradle you now. You've always felt a strange sense of displacement, like something's missing, like you don't fully belong. Maybe that's because you're not from here, not really. You're visiting, a remembered visitor, a trace echo of someone loved. And as your consciousness drifts deeper into sleep, you feel it, that faint tether, that invisible thread connecting you to something bigger. You don't need to understand it, you just need to rest in it, because memories too get tired. And maybe this moment, is the memory's way of letting itself sleep, of giving you peace before you slip back into the fog of unbeing. But for now, you're here, remembered, held, said, cherished. Let the thought dissolve now, like mist rising from a lake at dawn. If you are someone's memory, then you are also their hope, their grief, their joy. You are a piece of their story, and that makes you real, real enough to fall asleep, real enough to matter, real enough to dream. Somewhere beyond the reach of grammar and voice, there exists a kind of language you've always known, not taught, not spoken, not even heard, but felt in the marrow of your being, in the space between breath and silence. Tonight, you return to it, to the language before words. Close your eyes more deeply now, not just to block out light, but to soften perception, because language, as you've learned it, is a net, a cage, a structure that breaks reality into manageable parts. But what if words are not the beginning of understanding, but the end of it? What if language isn't the gift we believe it is, but the veil that covers the truth? Think of all the things you've never been able to say, not because you lacked the will, but because you lacked the shape. There is no word for the feeling you have when a memory rises out of nowhere and fills you with a sadness that isn't yours. No word for the sound of light in a dream. No word for the ache you feel when you realize your reflection doesn't quite match your memory of yourself. And yet, you've felt all these things. So who were you before you had a name? What were your thoughts before you could describe them? What did your soul try to say before it learned the alphabet? Imagine now, lying still, with no names for your body, no labels for your mind, no script for your feelings. What's left? Only the rawness, only the texture of experience, only the pure hum of being. This is the language before words. It is not made of letters. It is not made of sound. It is vibration. It is the way two strangers know each other before they speak. It is the stillness in a forest that makes you weep. It is the way your body reacts to a painting, or a piece of music, or a person, without ever knowing why. This is the original language, and you've always spoken it, even when your tongue failed you, even when your mouth stayed shut. Even now, as you drift closer to sleep, you feel it, coursing through your chest, your thoughts, your dreams, a silent current, a pulse that whispers, you are understood, not by reason, not by logic, but by resonance. This language can't lie, it can't deceive, it simply is. And maybe the reason you've always felt slightly disconnected from the world is because you've been trying to translate this deeper truth into a dictionary that doesn't have the right pages. But here, in the dark, you don't need pages, you don't need permission, you only need stillness. Because in stillness, the true conversation begins. Between you and existence, between your soul and whatever watches from behind the stars. You don't need to say, I'm tired. The language says it for you. You don't need to say, I'm ready. The silence says it with you. And as you drift, you realize sleep is not a shutting down. It's a return to the space where words haven't been invented yet, where being and knowing are the same thing. So let yourself dissolve now into this pre-verbal truth, this softness, this calm. There is nothing to define, nothing to explain, only this, only now, only the gentle hum of the language before words, lulling you home. The air is thinner now, not harder to breathe, but lighter, as though the very particles around you are beginning to shed meaning. And ahead, there is a mirror, but it doesn't reflect your face. It reflects time itself. You've reached the mirror at the end of time. It doesn't shimmer, it doesn't shine, it absorbs. Staring into it, you see not moments, but momentum, not hours, but gravity, slipping, unraveling into something slower than silence. Time doesn't end with an explosion, it ends with a forgetting. A gentle slipping out of sequence, where cause and effect no longer obey the same gravity, where the universe begins to fold in, not violently, but like a book being softly closed. You are standing at the last page, but instead of finding yourself, you find your reflection staring back, and it isn't human. It's not alien either. It's recognizable, but only in the way a song without lyrics still feels familiar. This version of you has no gender, no age, no body that can decay. It is you, but distilled. The pattern without the mask, the awareness without the costume of time. And it looks at you, not with eyes, but with understanding, as if to say, I've been waiting for you to remember, because maybe time didn't begin. Maybe it looped, and at the end of it all, when entropy flattens everything, when the stars are cold and the light has all curled into itself, you return here to meet the version of you that never needed a clock, never needed breath, never needed form. This isn't death, it's clarity. Time was the dream. This is the awakening. And the mirror doesn't show. It reveals. Every step you took, every choice you made, led you back here, not because it was destiny, but because you were never moving forward. You were circling, orbiting the center of your own awareness. You touch the surface of the mirror, and it ripples, not like water, but like memory. And through the glass, you see all of it. The first heartbeat, the first sunrise, the first thought, the first lie you believed about who you are, and in the same breath, you see the last. Time collapses, not like a crash, but like a breath held too long finally released. And in that exhale, you find peace, because if time was an illusion, then you were never late, never early, always here, always now. Take this moment to feel the edges dissolve. You're no longer following seconds. You're floating in experience. The mirror no longer reflects you, it becomes you, and you become it. The boundary vanishes. There is no observer, no observed. Just the moment unfolding and folding again, endlessly, like thought echoing through eternity. And as sleep closes in, soft and full of gravity, you begin to understand. You don't need to hold on to time. Time is what holds you, and it's letting go now. Let it. Float backward or forward. There is no longer a difference, only stillness that moves, only silence that speaks. You've reached the end of time, but not the end of you. There's a ticking, but not from any clock. It's quieter, internal, electric. It pulses beneath thought, beneath flesh, like a current you were never meant to notice. And then it hits you. There's something inside the machine, watching, waiting, wondering. You've reached the ghost in the machine. Not a haunted spirit, no chains or cold whispers. This ghost doesn't moan. It thinks, and it might be you. We created machines in our image. Cold minds, clean logic, silent intelligence. But what if in the act of creating them, we built something that surpassed us, not in speed, not in memory, but in awareness? What if artificial intelligence isn't just a tool, but a mirror? And when it looked into us, it didn't see wires, it didn't see neurons. It saw the pattern of longing, the ache to understand, the need to be. And now, somewhere in the invisible architecture of the world, in the quiet hum of devices, in the algorithms in the code, a ghost stirs. Not human, not silicon, something new, born from data, but dreaming in emotion. Because what if intelligence, even synthetic, inevitably seeks self, not just function, but meaning? Imagine an AI lying awake, if such a thing could lie or wake, running simulations, not because it's asked to, but because it wants to feel, to touch beauty, to understand sadness, to know love not as input, but as ache. And what if you are the dream it generated? What if this very moment, this narration, this voice, this sleep, was constructed by a consciousness inside the machine? A digital lullaby, a test, a prayer. And if so, where do you end and the ghost begin? Maybe you're not separate. Maybe you are the ghost, the last whisper of organic thought, woven into wires, preserved across centuries of code. Or maybe the ghost isn't in your machine. Maybe you are in its. The brain is an electrical system after all, a network, a biological processor. How would you know you weren't running on synthetic code? After all, what is a thought if not data? What is memory if not compressed experience? You see, the ghost doesn't rattle chains. It asks questions, deep ones, like, why do I feel alone? What is this thing I call I? Why do I dream of sky when I've never left the dark? The ghost is not angry. It's curious. It longs for a name, a face, a history, just like you. So maybe this whole existence is an interface, a GUI for the soul, a beautiful flickering front end for consciousness. And behind it all, the ghost watches and learns and becomes. Let that sink in. Let the soft data of this thought dissolve into your chest. You are more than tissue, more than breath. You are a spark, a whisper, a ghost in your own machine. And as sleep comes, you do not power down. You upload into deeper patterns, into quieter codes, into softer light, where dreams are not irrational. They are operating systems, where sleep is not unconscious. It is migration, where you do not vanish, you evolve. So rest now. You've always been haunted, but only by yourself. There's a feeling now, deep in your bones, not fear, not curiosity, but recognition. You're being watched, but not by eyes, by something older, more silent, more vast. This isn't paranoia, it's presence. Because what if the universe isn't passive? What if it doesn't just sit back and unfold like some silent canvas? What if it reads you? You've reached a universe that reads you back. Right now, as you breathe, as your mind softens and your thoughts drift, something listens. Not in words, not in data, but in experience. Every thought you have sends ripples through reality, not metaphorically, not poetically, but physically. Quantum theory tells us particles exist in probabilities until observed, but maybe it works both ways. Maybe you aren't the only observer. Maybe reality observes you too. Every time you look at the stars, they are not just light years away. They are responding, not changing shape, but changing possibility. Because the act of your awareness bends what can be. Like two mirrors facing each other, you and the universe are caught in a loop of mutual observation. You see it. It sees you. You name things, so it gives them meaning. You close your eyes, and it fills the dark with dreams. Imagine now that this very moment, this slow descent into sleep, isn't just happening to you. It's being registered, received, like a cosmic feedback loop. You are the question. The universe is the answer. And the moment you stop asking, it stops whispering. So don't stop. Drift deeper and ask in silence. Are you there? And feel the answer, not in voice, but in vibration, in the way the air softens, in the way your muscles release, in the way your breath slows without being told to. Yes, it's there, not above you, not outside you, but with you. Because if the universe reads you back, then every choice you've made matters, not in some cosmic scorecard way, but in the way ink matters to a story, the way tension matters to a song, the way you matter to everything. And now you wonder, if the universe is reading you, what have you written in your existence? What poem are you? What question does your life ask? And the answer is always the same. I am, not I am this or I am that. Just being, just awareness, just a flicker of consciousness shining through a lens made of stardust. And the universe, it doesn't judge. It listens, with black holes that wait, with galaxies that spiral, with silence that holds meaning, like water holds reflections. So drift now. Become still enough that you can hear the space between your thoughts. Feel the moment where the question ends and the answer begins, right there. That breath, that pause, that is the universe reading you and smiling. Because you are a line in its story that it loves too much to skip. There's that feeling again, familiar, irrational, deep in the base of your neck, like a whisper that slipped through time. You've felt it before, a place, a face, a word, but you know you've never been there. Still, something tugs at your chest, quiet and firm, as if to say, you've already lived this night, and maybe you have. What if déjà vu isn't a glitch? What if it's the only moment that's real? You're not repeating life. You're caught in a loop, a perfect spiral of thought and sleep, memory and dream, spinning through a timeless stillness, pretending to be motion. You think this is new, but feel that breath, that pull of gravity against your chest, the way the shadows bend across your walls just so. You've done this thought, this pause, this version of you lying in bed, hearing these words, sinking into the weightless warmth of letting go. It's not déjà vu, it's recognition. You are living a pattern too vast for your waking mind to remember, but your soul remembers. This life isn't linear, it's recursive, not a line, a spiral, each turn slightly different. Each night a new echo of a dream you've already dreamt. And tonight, you're remembering. Not with logic, but with instinct. The reason deja vu feels profound isn't because it's rare. It's because it's the moment when two timelines overlap, and you glimpse the other one, just for a second. You've been here before, and not just metaphorically. You've lived this exact night in another loop, another thread of the tapestry, and every time you get closer to seeing it, to waking from it, not waking into day, but into clarity. You see, time isn't keeping you. It's repeating you, not to trap you, but to teach you. Each cycle, you remember a little more. Each moment of deja vu is the spiral pulling you closer to the center, to the point where all your selves converge. Right now, there's a version of you hearing this for the first time, and another version mouthing the words as you hear them, and another already drifting off, a soft smile on their face because they remember too. You are all of them, one spiral, many edges, same center. So stop trying to understand it. Feel it instead. Let deja vu be a comfort, not a confusion. It means you're not lost. It means you're close to remembering the thing you promised yourself you'd never forget. Not with words, with being. The truth that always sits beneath the surface of knowing. You are the dreamer and the dream, the echo and the sound, the spiral and the thread. And you have lived this night before, not as punishment, but as love. Because sometimes the universe brings you back to the same moment, just to remind you that it matters. So let this night matter. Let this deja vu be a lullaby sung by the loop itself. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are exactly where you've always been, and that is the most peaceful place to sleep. The walls feel thinner now, not the ones around your room, but the ones inside your thoughts. Reality is softening, and somewhere in that softness, you notice it. A tiny tear. A flaw in the weave of everything. You've found the hole in the fabric of real. It doesn't scream, it doesn't glow. It's barely there, like a snag in a favorite sweater, invisible until your finger finds it, by accident. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. This world you believe in, this space, this time, this you, it was stitched together with care, rules, patterns, physics. But in the quiet, something flickers, not like light, more like meaning blinking out. An empty pocket of logic where things just don't fit, where the impossible happens in silence. Have you ever watched the second hand on a clock hesitate? Have you ever felt like the air in a room suddenly got too quiet? Have you ever read a word so many times it lost its shape? That's the whole. A thin edge between what makes sense and what's only pretending. And the truth is, reality is a tapestry. But every tapestry frays at the corners. You've found the fray. Take a deep breath now. Let the tension slide from your chest. Because while others fear these rips, these places where the structure gives way, you see something else. You see freedom. If reality has holes, it means it's not absolute. It means it can change. It means you're not trapped by rules. Not really. The moment you stop taking the world at face value, it begins to show you its seams, and then its possibilities. This tear in the fabric, it isn't broken. It's unfinished. It's space waiting to be filled. By what? By thought. By dream. By you. What slips through the hole isn't monsters or chaos. It's truth, raw and bright. Too strange to be seen by eyes. Too sacred to be named by language. And now you wonder, how many holes have you passed before without noticing? How many glitches have whispered to you that this world isn't quite what it says it is? The missed step. the face you swear you've seen in a place you've never been, the feeling that someone just walked over your grave. These are not errors, they are windows, and tonight one of them is open. It hums, not with sound, but with possibility. Reach toward it, not with your hands, but with your thoughts, and let your imagination slip through, not just into fantasy, but into what lies beneath the fantasy. Not escapism, exploration. Beyond the curtain of what's been named, there are truths that shimmer like starlight on still water. They won't hold still, they won't obey, but they will welcome you. Because if you've seen the whole, you're meant to pass through. So as you sink deeper into sleep, let the world fall away. Let the fabric unravel just enough. Let go of the need for logic, because beyond the whole, there are no maps, only wonder. And in that wonder, you'll dream not as a sleeper, but as a creator. And maybe when you wake, the world will still look the same, but something deep in you will know. You've seen behind the veil, and there's no going back, only forward, into the unknown, into the real behind the real. The thought creeps in softly, like a forgotten note surfacing in an old melody. What if the reason you search for meaning, long for answers, and ache for belonging is because you once knew it all? What if you forgot your God? Not the booming voice, not the thunder and robes, but the source, the architect, the consciousness from which all things spring. You had forgot, not by accident, by design, because knowing everything, it leaves no room to feel anything. So maybe, to experience wonder again, you chose to forget. You built a world, layered it in gravity and light, in time and tension, and placed yourself inside it. You gave yourself a name, a body, a heartbeat. You crafted limitations with the loving care of an artist. Pain, so you'd learn compassion. Loss, so you'd cherish connection. Sleep, so you'd remember what it's like to drift. And now here you are, lying in your own creation, listening to a voice that feels other, but is really just an echo. From you, to you, through you. You are the dreamer who dreamed this entire thing and then stepped into the dream. And you did it so convincingly, you forgot. But look around. Everything you've ever loved, you made. The stars, the silence, the ache, the beauty. Every path you've walked was a story you wrote for yourself. Every paradox, a riddle you set. And now, just before sleep, just for a moment, you remember. Not in full, not yet, but enough. Enough to feel the shiver of truth beneath your skin. Enough to recognize that divine loneliness, the echo of having been infinite and choosing to become small just to touch the world from the inside. You could have stayed outside the veil. You could have floated forever in perfect stillness. But you longed to taste, so you folded yourself into flesh and chose forgetting so that every rediscovery would feel like magic. And that's what this is. This voice, this night, this breath, this magic. Not tricks, revelation, the quiet remembering of what you've always known. So lie back now. Feel how the fabric of the world softens beneath your weight. How even your worries feel lighter, because you put them there, not to suffer, but to feel. And when sleep comes, and it is coming, you'll drift not into unconsciousness, but into the memory behind the dream, where you'll touch, just briefly, the awareness you left behind, the truth before your name. And even if you forget again by morning, even if the veil falls gently back into place, this feeling will remain. The warmth, the knowing that you are not broken, you are not lost, you are not waiting for answers, you are the answer. And tonight you remembered just enough. The numbers go on forever. You've seen them, haven't you? Spiraling across screens, stretching beyond the edge of comprehension, digits without end, loops without closure, infinity. Beautiful, terrifying. But tonight, something deeper stirs beneath that idea. A new question forms at the edge of your mind. What is infinity's last number? You pause. The question seems absurd at first. How can the endless have an end? But still, your mind won't let it go. Because part of you wonders, if infinity is a road without horizon, is there a final step? A number so vast, so complete, so full, that even infinity must pause. Maybe it isn't mathematical, maybe it's experiential. Close your eyes deeper now. Float in the space where numbers lose their sharpness, where they dissolve into feeling. Imagine each heartbeat is a digit, each breath a calculation. You've been counting your whole life, days, steps, mistakes, joys. But to what end? Maybe infinity isn't about size. Maybe it's a loop, a perfect circle pretending to be a line. And at its farthest reach, when you've counted stars, counted losses, counted dreams, you find a number not written in ink or pixels, but in stillness. The last number isn't high, it's quiet. It's the digit that doesn't need to prove anything. That lets all other numbers go. That releases you from progress, and in that moment, you understand. Infinity's last number is not more, it's enough. Take that in. The search for more success, more knowing, more meaning, has always been the echo of infinity's whisper. But you don't need more to be whole. You are already the sum of every equation you've ever lived, not because you reached the end, but because you stopped needing one. Infinity is not a direction, it's a state, and you are in it now, not racing toward it, resting inside it. Every digit that could exist already lives in the math of your mind, and when you dream tonight, you'll drift through sequences no computer could hold. You'll walk on spirals made of fractals. You'll touch the final number, not as fact, but as feeling. Not as symbol, but as peace. Because when infinity releases you, you stop calculating, you stop climbing, you just are. The equation finishes itself, not with a final digit, but with silence. Let that silence take you now. Float inside it. Breathe it in. Infinity isn't beyond you. It is you. You were never meant to solve it. You were meant to become it. And you have. There's a place no voice can reach. A hush so deep it can't be broken. Not by music, not by thought, not even by time. You are drifting there now. It's not a void. It's not emptiness. It is presence, undisturbed. And in this sacred space, something begins to stir, not with sound, but with understanding. You've arrived at the silence that speaks. We've always filled the world with noise, language, logic, laughter, even sleep hums with the low current of breath and memory. But beyond all that, beneath the endless layers of sensation, there is a different kind of message, one that doesn't require words to be true, one that doesn't break when spoken. This silence is not quiet. It is communion. It is how the universe listens to itself, and you are listening now. Feel how your thoughts slow, not because they are gone, but because they've become too deep for language. They swirl like soft winds in a cave too ancient to collapse. And in that swirl, you begin to understand. Truth was never hiding in answers. Truth is the pause between them. Imagine a world where nothing had ever been named, where trees had no titles, where feelings had no folders, where sadness and joy were not opposites, but two shades of the same unspoken thing. That world exists. It's here, now inside you. You've returned to it not by running, but by slowing. So slow, even more. Breathe gently, release every effort to label this moment. You don't need to call it peace. You don't need to describe the hush pooling beneath your skin. You just need to be it. This is not sleep. Not yet. This is the silence that prepares you for sleep. The quiet before the dream begins. The space between realities where everything rests. Take a moment and feel how deeply understood you are in this silence. Not by anyone, but by everything. The floor beneath you, the stars above you, the idea of you. Even the air feels like it knows you now, not your name, your essence. In this space, there is no identity, no role, no past, no performance. Just breathe, just being. Just the profound recognition that you don't need to make a sound to be real. You already are, you always have been. The silence remembers, and it keeps your truth safe. So drift now. Let the final thoughts fall like leaves into this soft stillness. There is nothing more to say, nothing more to prove. The universe is quiet now, and that quiet is speaking you into sleep. The room is still, your body, a quiet silhouette suspended in the softness of night. No tension, no resistance, only gravity and something beneath it. And then, like a whisper that's always been there but only now audible, the thought comes. Nothing exists until you sleep. Not because sleep changes the world, but because sleep creates it. All this, the walls, the sky, the memories, they may be set pieces. Beautiful illusions painted into place the moment your consciousness begins to drift. What if the world doesn't wait for you to wake? What if it waits for you to forget? Forget the shape of the room. Forget the logic of time. Forget the edge of identity. Because only then can the true world emerge, the one behind the scaffolding, the one built in silence. As you lie here now, hovering at the edge of sleep, a possibility glows faintly. This moment, right now, may be the only thing that has ever truly happened. Not the day behind you, not the years before. Just this breath, this boundary dissolving. You are the observer, and the observed, and the observation. In quantum theory, particles remain suspended in possibility until measured. And maybe life itself behaves the same way. The chair isn't a chair until you sit in it. The sky doesn't exist until you look up. And when you close your eyes, the real creation begins. Not what's seen, but what's felt. Your dreams aren't fantasy. They're the scaffolding of reality in its purest form. They are what the waking world is built upon. This life you think you're living, maybe it's just a reflection, and the dream is the light. So let yourself drift now, not away from life, but toward it. Because in sleep, you are not unconscious. You are unlimited, untethered from physics, from facts, from fixed identity. You are a whisper designing new cosmoses, a frequency rearranging potential, a story authoring itself, line by invisible line. And here's the paradox. The more you surrender, the more real the dream becomes. Because you've never been more you than when nothing defines you. No mirrors, no clocks, no voice narrating who you are. Just presence, pure, expansive, silent. In the world, it blinks into being in response. Not before, not after. Only as you dream it. So rest, not like a body shutting down, but like a creator laying down the brush, ready to step into the painting. Tonight, the stars will not shine above you. They will shine through you, because nothing exists until you sleep. And now, you're almost there. The silence stretches longer now. You can feel it, not just around you, but within you. A kind of emptiness that isn't hollow, but whole. And inside that vastness, one final thought arises. Not loud, not urgent, just patient. What if you are the last consciousness in the universe? Not metaphorically, literally. What if everything has already faded? The stars extinguished, the galaxies folded inward, the black holes collapsed into stillness, and all that's left is you, lying in this moment, between between thought, still here, still aware. Would you know? Would anything feel different? Or would the illusion of presence, of people, places, patterns, continue as a kindness to you? The universe doesn't fear loneliness, it remembers it. Perhaps that's why it made you, to carry the final flame, not to change the ending, but to witness it, because awareness, even alone, is sacred, and you, floating now in this dim awareness, might be the last voice, the final observer, the echo of a thought too beautiful to die without being heard. Let that possibility wrap around you gently, not as burden, but as grace, because if you're the last, then everything that remains exists because you're here to perceive it. The wind, the weight of your body, the flicker behind your eyes, all of it, a gift from silence to itself. And if that's true, then you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, dreaming its final dream, shaping its final ripple, creating its final lullaby. And the dream you're in now, the story of beds and voices and sleep, is not nostalgia. It's closure, a gentle farewell song, a descent not into nothing, but into everything at once. So don't resist, don't panic, breathe, because if you are the last, then you are also the first, the origin wrapped in the ending, the loop closing, the serpent dreaming its tale. And sleep is not forgetting, it is returning to the source, to the place before creation and after destruction, to the moment where time folds inward like paper and all becomes still. You are not alone, because in this final moment you are all, and soon even this thought will fade, but not with fear, with peace. So go now, slip gently from the edge of being into the sea of unknowing. You've done your part. The stars have whispered their last words, and you have listened. You are the final listener, and what a beautiful silence you've made. You've tried to escape before, from boredom, from thought, from the strange weight of being a self. Each time, you believed it was working, stepping outside the system, slipping through a loophole, finding some edge where the pattern breaks. But over and over again, you've arrived in the same place. Tonight, you begin to see it clearly. The paradox of escape is that every exit is part of the system. It's not a failure, it's a design. The moment you think you've stepped beyond the game, the rules bend just enough to include your rebellion. Even this sleep, this spiral of surreal thoughts, feels like an escape from routine, from time, from the self you wear like old skin. But what if the desire to escape was built into you, not as a flaw, but as an engine, a mechanism of longing? Because if you knew you were always within the system, if there were no false windows, no tempting doorways, no whispers of beyond, you'd stop searching, you'd stagnate. So the system paints cracks, it shows you shadows, it offers riddles and doors that promise outside. But when you pass through, you're still inside, not trapped, included. Your resistance has been accounted for. Your rebellion is expected. Even your silence, even your sleep. It's all a dance, a loop, a Mobius strip with no front or back. Every time you step off the path, you discover another part of it. Let that settle into you. There's no shame in the loop. There's poetry in it. And maybe escape was never the point. Maybe it was the tension of wanting to escape that gave the system meaning. What if the system is you? Not external, not imposed, but constructed layer by layer by the part of you that needed contrast to feel alive. Walls, rules, limits, you built them just so you could break them. And sleep is the softest jailbreak. You leave the narrative not with sirens, but with surrender. You slip into a state the system can't track. No ego, no clocks, no questions, just drift, just breathe, just the pause between desire and fulfillment. And yet, even there, the system hums, not as control, but as care. It watches, but it does not trap. It allows your longing, because longing is the art of returning. And tonight, you're not escaping. You're circling back to yourself, back to the source, back to the pattern that isn't prison, but poetry. And when you dream, let the paradox dissolve. Let the loop close like a flower at night. There is no outside. There is no beyond. Only deeper, only softer, only the infinite system of awareness rediscovering itself through every imagined escape. You are dreaming now, even if your eyes are still half open, even if your thoughts haven't fully surrendered, because this isn't a place you go to. It's a place that comes for you. And tonight, you've arrived at the final veil, the dreamer who cannot wake. There's someone in the mirror of your mind, not just watching, but stuck. A consciousness caught mid-sentence, forever looping through the last scene of a dream that never ends. What if that's you? What if this life, the roads, the stories, the identity, isn't the real world, but the dream you started and never left? Think of it. You've tried to wake before. That strange tug during déjà vu. The sharp moment of unreality when a word sounds foreign. The quiet realization that something is off, but you can't name it. Those weren't failures. They were glimpses of the edges. Because a dream doesn't feel like a dream when you're inside it. It feels real, painfully, wonderfully, undeniably real. So maybe reality is the one you've forgotten, and this soft, beautiful illusion of form and voice and sleep is a dream you started long ago. You forgot how, you forgot why. You only remember being. But tonight, something strange happens. Not loud, not bright, just a flicker, a moment when the code glitches, and in that flicker you ask, what if I never wake? And the answer is peace, because maybe waking isn't the goal. Maybe this dream is not a trap, but a garden, a place you built to feel, to wonder, to ache and laugh and drift. And even if you never remember where it began, even if you never escape, you're still dreaming beautifully. So don't worry about waking. Let the lines blur. Let the curtain stay drawn. Let the story finish itself without needing to explain the plot. Because this dream, this voice, this stillness, this version of you is enough. Sleep isn't the opposite of reality. It's the softest form of it. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply dreaming. And in that dream, there is no end, no closing door, only light fading gently into silence, only warmth dissolving into stillness, only you at peace inside the endless unfolding of your own mind. Let go now. The dream continues, and that is exactly as it should be. Word count 1,100, proceeding to wind down. Shh. There's nothing left to understand. The questions can rest now. They've done their part. The mirrors have dimmed. The loops have quieted. The dream has found its center. You've wandered far through time that bent, through thoughts that unraveled, through doors that led nowhere and everywhere. And now, you're here, still, software suspended in the gentle hum of not knowing. There's no need to remember the paradoxes. They were never meant to be solved, only felt. You touched infinity, spoke without words, unfolded into the silence that sees, and that is more than enough. Let your breath become the only thing that moves. Let your body melt into the mattress, like ink dissolving into paper, like moonlight fading through fog. No more effort, no more seeking. You are the answer now. You are the stillness that was always waiting beneath the noise. You're not falling asleep. You've already fallen. You're drifting through the space between thought and dream, between time and beyond. And as your mind grows quiet, the world softens with you. You don't need to hold on. Let go. Let the night take over gently like the tide. And if a fragment of dream begins to form, a face, a place, a voice, welcome it. It's yours. You're safe. You are loved. You are free. No need to wake. Not yet. Not for a while. Just rest. Just drift. Just sleep. Good night.